perfect drive, chunk of 3 wood, 20 yards this way on the fairway, 30 yards that way. Lovely. My fucking ball ends up right here. In this fucking puddle, I would say it's 2.5 feet wide. You gotta be shitting me!
All right, boys. Kurt, that is my favorite video of all time now.
I saw when you posted that on Instagram and I was dying. It's a pretty funny video.
Like, I mean, any golfer knows they've been there at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that they have all this open room and they, of course, find the one spot they absolutely cannot hit it to. And they hit it there. Oh, my God.
It happens to the best of us.
Happens to the best. Happens to me every round. Every round. I'll be up there and I'll go, well, I got open lane right of the fairway and about 5 miles of woods to the left, and I just slice it left.
It feels like it happens to me about 15 out of 18 holes.
Yeah. Yeah. How many times in a round? How many times in a round where you hit like a drive? Like, I'm terrified of my driver. I'm absolutely terrified of that club. And if I pull it out, I'm like, there is a 75% chance I will never see this ball again.
Oh, yeah. That's a mutual feeling.
Dude, when I was just starting to get into golf, I went out and I played 18, and I counted the amount of balls that I had before I went. And I think it was like 25 I had. I came home with 2. I left 23 somewhere on that course.
I try to avoid playing by courses that are near big beds of water.
Oh, yeah.
Or that have a lot of water like on the course, because my ball always ends up there. I never see them again. So yeah, it's a mutual feeling. I understand that pain from the video.
Yeah. If there's a lot of water, you're going to be doing some fishing. Welcome back, everybody, to Taking All Bets, episode 13 now. Again, going with this like short format. So this is our second episode of the week. And wow, has a lot changed since Wednesday. That Super League that we were talking about in soccer is not a thing anymore.
No more.
72 hours later, it's gone.
It's already gone. all the European the English teams, I guess that would be Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, and Man United. Right away, I think after they saw the backlash, they were gone. They dropped out of it. Then we haven't really heard from the Spanish and the Italian teams, but it doesn't sound like they have enough left to make it happen.
CBS reported that the article says, in a wild 72 hours since the announcement, the proposed European Super League has been suspended after all 6 Premier League teams, including Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester United, Man City, and Arsenal, dropped out to extreme fan backlash. So
this could be an all-time protest right there. That was efficient if I've ever seen it.
I mean, when you look at the protests around the world, I mean, these people got it done in like 4 days. It was
less. I think it was less. So yeah, like shout out to them, because soccer fans around the world, they came together and they got it done. The Super League is no more.
Yeah, all the teams were like, hey, we have this great idea. I think you'll all like it. And everybody was like, fuck that. And then they were like, okay, we're not going to do it anymore. Never mind.
We actually hate it. Your idea sucks.
We actually hate that idea that you came up with, and never come to us with that again. We will deny it every time. Yeah. So, wow. What a turnaround. I mean, that is JP Morgan. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Holy, that's a real downer.
I'm glad though. It's better this way. It's better for the growth of the game. It's good that they're moving forward how it should be.
Yeah. It's weird that like soccer is like like always been a sport that's just been about growing the game. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like all these other leagues, like they get to the point where they're like, oh, we're fine. This is enough for us. And then they're just like, we'll roll down with this and we'll make as much money as I can.
I
Soccer
think
has never been like that.
I
And
think
they
it
make the most money.
yeah, but I think it works for them because okay, like I'm trying to think of the proper way to say this, but if you're thinking about if you're signing your kid up for a sport, it's the easiest for any family
It's
to be able
affordable.
to, that's a one way to put it. And like because you just need really a soccer ball and some cleats. But I'm thinking more or less that's North America and probably England, most of Europe. But even if you go to some third world countries, your kids are able to at least kick a ball around, right? Like some
Yeah.
are not as fortunate to get the type of equipment that we do here. So
Right.
around the world, it's just the easiest for kids to play. But
Mhm.
then it also creates it, which is it's great because it brings a ton of different cultures together, right? And I
Right.
think that's what makes soccer so great. And that's why I'm happy to see that they're continuing in the tradition that they've grown up playing, that it grows the game the best this way. We've seen when everyone plays around the world, all these teams have their own leagues and they come together for Champions League. They play internationally. This is the best way to grow the game, and it should continue to be like that going forward.
Yeah. Like would you say and the opposite is true. Like wouldn't you say probably hockey is the most expensive sport to play?
Yeah, and I think that's why you can say they've had sometimes the biggest trouble growing their
Right.
sport, especially if you look at I think the women's game is getting there. Like it's getting better and I like to see that cuz but it's just it's a little tougher to grow hockey at the same way that you grow soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, like even if you take baseball, right? Like baseball is such a international sport, like even more so. Well, not maybe like more so than hockey, really, because like baseball is more into like European or into to Asian countries
Yep.
like Korea and Japan. But you know what's weird though is that golf, golf is actually like one of the most expensive sports to play, but like internationally, it's played everywhere. It's very
Yeah.
weird that way.
Well, I feel like tennis would probably be in a similar situation as a golf where you
Mhm.
have to get into almost those clubs, right? That those they
Right.
call them like the rich groups of people that are able to play those sports, but they
Mhm.
are played around the world. They're just
Exactly.
there's very limited people in those groups in each country or around the world that play, but it
Mhm.
is around the world.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's one of the like Asia is like starting to dominate golf now. Like especially it seems like on
Yeah.
the women's tour, a lot of the
Yep.
really good players are from Asian countries.
Yep.
It's just
It
crazy.
is. It is changing.
And then you got Hideki Matsuyama, who is the Masters champion, the man from Japan, the
That
man with a
is
plan.
that is good to see though for golf, especially like growing the game like that, having other countries win the biggest tournament in the world is it's big. That'll continue. That'll help it grow even more. So that's good
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, it's really good. Let's see. What else like what oh, this other thing happened what was this yesterday? Um did you see the Robin Lehner
Yeah.
press conference?
Yeah.
Dude, what is he talking about? I don't
So
understand.
so he was basically claiming that the NHL, when players were vaccinated, fully vaccinated, which now in at the state of America, a lot of teams are, and they're able to be fully vaccinated, they're still kept in these kind of not it's not necessarily a bubble, but you know how they have very strict restrictions when it comes to hotel rooms leaving,
Right.
where they can eat. But America is not at the same state as Canada is now. There's states that are fully open. There's like so when they're
Mhm.
traveling around, they really the restrictions aren't nearly as strict, but the hockey players are now held to former restrictions. So he's saying that the NHL promised once they were vaccinated that would change, but
Mhm.
apparently it hasn't. Then the NHL came out and said, no, we didn't promise that. You have to stay vigilant with the restrictions. It's we had I guess, a written agreement or whatever it was, but that wasn't stated that that would change going forward. So
Right.
now it's almost a he said they said we don't know, but it sounds like, and then he was going on to basically explain how it was impacting mental health of players, but people too, and just it's not really fair to them, and they need to take that into consideration, and that mental health in the future, like that's important, obviously, but for players like this long playing in this long season, obviously, and still then he plays on the nights and they can make a deep playoff run. So who knows how many more months they're kept in this strict, like these restrictions, right? So he was clearly not pleased about how the NHL was handling it.
So I noticed that he was talking about, how mental health and how the NHL has said that it's not really fair to the teams that can't, that their government won't let them go do certain things, like talking about the Canadian teams.
Yeah, I
Basically.
know that obviously that's Canada.
Yeah, and so in Canada you can't go and do the things that you can in the US right now. And he was saying he was saying that the NHL thinks of it as a competitive advantage for the American teams because they can go out and they can bond and they can, relieve stress and do things like that where the Canadian teams can't. And he was saying how it's not right that they're putting competitive advantage ahead of mental health. And he says that um people say we're all millionaires and blah blah blah, but we still go through the same things that just everybody does. And I totally agree with that. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the
Yeah.
bank, you still go through the same things. You still have lulls, you still have highs, everything like that. The thing I will say though is that if it is really bothering you, you can leave whenever you want, Robin Lehner. Like the fact, like just because you have millions of dollars in the bank doesn't mean that you're not susceptible to these types of mental issues, but it does give you the financial freedom to not have to go to work. So if it really bugs you that much that the NHL is putting restrictions on you, go home, don't play, sit out the
Yeah.
season. Guys have done that.
That's
And
it's a very interesting, like a good point too, because if you think about through this whole thing, there's a lot of people who are forced in these restrictions that would love to be able to work, right? And try to
right,
make the money. And he's able to do that. I understand, but he's also, it's a tough situation because he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's an advocate for mental health because he's dealt with that throughout his career.
right,
He's been very open about it, which is good for creating awareness. I'm glad he
right.
was able to do that. But
Oh yeah,
so I know why he's the one speaking out, because it is an issue, but it's a touchy subject because there's a lot of things you're never going to get. No one's ever going to be happy in this. The way we're living right now is tough it's always tough for someone in a way, right?
right,
But like someone you like, I'm just like you said, Robin Leonard, you've probably got it better than a lot of people do. I'm not trying to say your mental health isn't as important as anyone else's, because it absolutely is. But like you said, you have the luxury of having the financial stability that some people are barely
right,
scraping by right now. Some people aren't scraping by. Like the ability to work is something to be grateful for as well,
right.
because there's a lot of people who can't. So it's a touchy subject and it's tough. I don't really know where I stand on it because I see both sides of this.
Right. That's what I've said from day one uh of this pandemic, is that I don't really blame anybody for their stance on it, because every side of this argument, and Robin Lehner's on the mental health side of this argument, every side of this argument has a valid point.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like, there's the physical health side of it, like keeping you safe from COVID. There's the mental health side of it, in terms of being able to just go do certain activities, be with friends, be with family. That's absolutely valid. There's the financial side of it where people have to make money. So every side is valid, which makes this problem, exponentially difficult to kind of dissect and come up with a proper solution for it.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to navigate through all this. And I like, as much as a lot of us probably have talked trash about the government, how they've handled it, if you're from the States, if you're from Canada, or wherever you're from, I would not want to be in that position to have to implement these restrictions because it's tough.
No.
Like you
Yeah.
just said, there's so much to take into consideration. Like you were impacting people's lives in many ways. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't start to try and understand everyone's issues and act like we know what people are going through. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that spot because it's tough. There's just so much to try and navigate through.
Right. It's a tough situation. We'll come out of it on the other side. We'll be better off for it. We'll have this experience, we'll have the knowledge, and we'll be grizzled vets at that point of
Yeah.
life, of just life in general.
I like how you put a positive end on this.
Hey, we'll put a positive spin on it. I mean, you got it, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So next, let's move on to some baseball. Later on in the show, we'll get into some picks for our Friday night games.
Another CLP, a can't lose parlay for the Friday night.
Exactly.
Get those locked in. Stay tuned for that.
Friday night, even Saturday. This will be our kind of our
Oh,
regular picks for the weekends. Whatever.
I'm excited for Saturday. Saturday's a good day of sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a simple question.
All right.
Why do the Yankees suck?
I wish I had that answer for you, but I was looking at some statistics earlier because obviously, as we're both Jays fans,
Yeah.
we were curious as to why the Yankees were supposed to be the big bad Yankees, locked in first place, AL East champions. I already had them. I already handed them that banner. I think they already have it at Yankee Stadium right now, just flying. But anyways, you look at their pitching, first of all, we'll start there. No starter has done anything spectacular outside of Garrett Cole. That's the first issue.
Yeah.
Their ERA was like 4.5, 5.4. Like
yeah,
it was not good.
So let's say Jameson Tate. How do you say that name? I've never been able to say that. 5.4 ERA. Corey Kluber, 5.4 ERA. Jordan Montgomery, 4.2 ERA. And then Garrett Cole is sitting over there and he's like, "Hey, did you pay the hydro bill? Because I've just been lights out this year." With my 1.82 ERA. Do you like what I did there? You like what I did there?
I do like that.
He's just been fantastic. I mean, he's averaging like almost 2 strikeouts an inning.
Would we expect anything else from Garrett Cole though?
No. I mean,
he
makes
a lot of money to do that. So
14.2 strikeouts per 9. So he's been the only like really bright side of this rotation.
Yeah.
Their bullpen has been really good. In 5 innings, Chapman's given up no runs. He's walked 2 batters, and everybody else is really, really solid out of the pen. But their hitting has been atrocious.
I was also looking at those stats. Like even Giancarlo Stanton, if I'm not mistaken, is like 5 homers, 12 RBIs, which is it's respectable. He has quite a few hits, I think. But he's like or maybe not, because he's like a 176 average. Like that's not good enough. I'm sorry. I know you hit a lot of homers and you drive in runs, but you have to do more. You got to get on base. Like, and Aaron Judge had like I think it was
so
like
let me give it to
something.
You.
Yeah, I want to hear it because it wasn't great.
So Stanton, his line, oh my God, 158 batting average.
Oh, it's 158. It's even worse than I thought.
3 home runs, 12 RBI. 21 strikeouts.
Jesus.
To 6 walks. This guy's not even walking.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's a terrible. This guy's not getting on base.
He's a 238 on base percentage.
Oh my God.
Like when you look up and down this lineup, when you look at the batting averages, there's a lot of ones in that first decimal place. I mean,
and take that into Vlad his OBP is over 500 right now.
Exactly.
What's Giancarlo's is
238.
So more than double.
Now Judge has been Judge has been Aaron Judge. I mean, he's been himself. 15 games, he's got 4 home runs. Might be a little down with 8 RBIs. He's hitting 268 with a 359 on base. I mean, those are respectable numbers, obviously.
Yeah. That's not MVP finalist numbers, but that's not losing you games.
No.
But that's not the reason you're losing games.
But Aaron Hicks hitting 158. Clint Frazier hitting 175. Gleyber Torres hitting 186. Jay Bruce, who is now retired,
Retired.
he's like, I'm done. I can't do this
So
anymore.
I
Was
came
hitting
here to win,
118.
and we're not doing that. I'm out.
Like he's hitting 118. Runan Odor. I mean, I'm so happy to see this guy hitting 120. I
You
mean,
can see
that's
why
just
he was
fantastic.
released now.
Yeah, like this. He's got to be the biggest asshole in all of baseball
He kind of scares me without the beard.
without the
Yan-
beard.
yeah, the Yankees have the rule, right? You have to shave your
Right.
beard. Have you seen what he looks like?
Yeah, he looks like a child.
Yeah, I was like, who is that coming to the plate? And I was like, oh my god, that's Ruben Odor. Like
Who
I
is
did
this man?
not know. I did not know who it was at first. It's
Who is this man?
unrecognizable.
But yeah, and then like Gary Sanchez hitting 200. And like it's just they're not even getting on base, which is the huge problem. Like, I mean,
And you know what bugs me? We had so I was watching yesterday. I think it was it might have been LB Network or something. They were talking about Aaron Boone possibly being fired. I was like, what is he supposed to go up there
yeah,
and get on base for them? Like, what do you want him to do? He's yeah, like you could say, well, he can change the lineup, he can put guys in better positions to succeed. At the end
right,
of the day, he can't swing the bat for them. Like
right.
the averages speak for themselves. You simply have
Yeah.
to you have to get on base, you have to hit the ball better, and their
Like
hitters are just not doing enough.
when people say that, like, oh, should Aaron Boone be fired? Who are you gonna put in? Like Brett Gardner saying 214. Odor, I said 120. Like Mike Ford, who's played 2 games, like 143. I don't even count. I mean, it's
Clint
2 games.
Frazier
Yeah.
176 or something.
Like who is he supposed to put in? And the bullpen. That is where I um immediately go to if you're looking to maybe fire a manager. Look at how the bullpen is performing, because the bullpen is directly impacted by the managers'
Yeah, you're
decisions.
managing, you're putting the guy in, deciding who they're facing, what inning
Okay.
they're being utilized, putting them in a proper position to succeed. Because obviously, if you want a long reliever, you're not going to bring him in the ninth to face the heart of the order. And clearly, he's managing that fine because their numbers are good.
Yeah. So like I don't think it's like he's not to blame here. It's just the hitters. Like you gotta try to get on base somehow. Like
But
this is just sad.
at the same time, I don't think this will last. Like at the end of the day, it's
No,
such a long season. They're not going to hit 170 and 150 the whole year. They'll be fine. But it is concerning though that it's 20 games in now and it still hasn't turned around. Like they just lost. Who did they just play? Was it they just played the Red Sox, right? Or the Rays before? The Rays. They got
right.
swept by the Rays. They've lost 2 series to the Jays. Like they're in division play has been bad. And at the end of in baseball, so important your in division play because you play 19 games against each team, or about 19. I think it
Right.
is 19, but like you have to win your division games because they're so important. They decide if you make the playoffs or if you don't.
Right.
And especially
Like
how like close that AL East is. Obviously, they're not as strong as we thought. The Jays don't look as strong, but that's like it's a different topic because they injuries and health. I think they'll be fine as well. But the
right.
Red Sox look better
Yeah.
than we thought. Actually, I actually said that. Remember when we were talking about? I said they could be
Yeah.
a surprise team. So I'm not gonna say I told you guys so,
So
but they are
so when
better
you
than
said that, when you were like, oh, like the Red Sox, like, you know, they're still a good team. I was like, yeah, it's true. And then I was like, I couldn't fucking tell you 4 guys who were in that line. Like I could tell you, I was like Xander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, JT Martinez, and then I was like, who else do they have in this lineup? And then I went through, and still like Christian
Arroyo, Christian
Arroyo.
Arroyo, yeah,
I have just been twisting my tongue all
Alex,
day.
Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, Verdugo, like Marwin Gonzalez, like
Mhm.
um, but like by comparison, like Xander Bogaerts hitting 385. Um, JT Martinez hitting 368. So I mean, like, here's a team that's getting on base, who's taking opportunities that are given to them and capitalizing on them, which the um, Yankees just aren't doing. But let's move on to our team, Toronto Blue Jays, and
Yes,
they might have some help on the way, eh, Kurt?
it's it sounds like it. I think George Springer could make his debut this weekend. I think there's a few other guys. Thomas Hatch, they said's close. Nate Pearson is just trying to build up now because obviously they want to bring him back as a starter. So they're
Right.
just trying. He's doing like a spring training work here, trying to just build up so he can come in, start games right away. Tyler Chatwood is close, and so is Teoscar. I think Teoscar could be back this weekend. So that could be huge for that lineup. I know they
Right.
sit 8-10 right now, but they're not an 8-10 team. They're in a similar situation where their bats are starting to come around. You've seen
Mhm.
Bo and Vlad are still carrying it, but we've seen Teoscar a little bit. Sorry, not Teoscar. Lourdes Gurriel is starting to get some hits here.
Mhm.
Grichuk has slowed a bit, but he's still getting his hits. Kirk is starting to get his hits. So getting George Springer too, getting him into
Tellez
that lead
too.
up. Yeah, Tellez.
Kirk,
Like
yeah.
we saw Simeon got back in the hit column last night, and
Mhm.
that's big. They moved him down because I think he was just struggling in that leadoff spot. But I mean, they were just waiting for George Springer because that's his spot, right? Think
Right.
about that. Like if you get 4 times a game, George Springer, Bo, and Vlad to the plate, like you're gonna get runs. That's dangerous. And then that's followed up by you could mix and match whatever you want, depending because obviously
Yeah,
you want if it's
Simeon or Biggio or whatever.
that it depends on the pitching matchup too. If it's a righty or lefty, right? You might not
Right.
want 5 right-handed hitters in a row, but you have Tellez, you have Biggio, you also have Teoscar, Lourdes Gurriel, Kirk, like Simeon, you've got options. And all of a sudden, when that lineup healthy looks extremely dangerous.
Yeah, like I'm looking at their numbers here. Like Vlad, yeah, 383. Greercheck 306 batting. These are batting averages. Bo at 292. Um, and like steady home run paces for a lot of these guys. Like Simeon, yeah, he's hitting 192. He's got 4 home runs though. So I mean, kind of across the board, they're pretty balanced, I think. And then when you get Springer, and like Springer is just like a different type of player. Like he's really like he's obviously not a Mike Trout type. Like he's not obviously as good as Mike Trout, but like he's that kind of like style player where he does like a little bit of everything. He'll run, he's a great fielder. He'll hit for average, he'll hit for power. Like he's just like he gets on base, like just all those things you want in a player. He does. I
He's
will
brought
ask you
okay.
one question. Um, do you think it's time that the Jays just go Alejandro Kirk full time? Because Danny Jansen is a really good defensive catcher. He's great with the pitching staff, but the dude can't hit.
Yeah,
He can't.
it's getting really concerning. I'm not gonna say do that full time because Kirk hasn't played a lot of games either. So you got to
Right.
let him get comfortable. And I think putting him catching how many ever like 2 out of every 5 because Jansen usually will guarantee for 3, right?
Hmm.
And I think use the platoon and use the advantage that you have 2 MLB quality catchers and use that to your advantage because they're both young still. There's no need to jump to conclusions yet, but yeah, it's looking he's struggling like mightily with the bat right now. So I think they should definitely increase like the playing time for Kirk, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't give just because you said that as well. Talked about his defense, it's much better, and that will be important down the stretch. And obviously, also keeping them healthy is too. Like you need 2 catchers. You can't play with one
Right.
catcher.
I think I when it comes to playoff time, it's really good to have um the two types of catchers that you do have. Like if you're playing against a team where I don't know, let's say you're playing against the Yankees, okay, and it's going. They have although they're struggling, they have great bats in the lineup. I think that's a game where you give Danny Jansen, you put him behind the plate because you want that relationship with the pitchers and you want the pitchers to obviously do well in that game. Where if you're playing a team like, say, Tampa, where they're built more on pitching, you would put maybe Kirk in because it's going to be a grinded out game and you want as much offensive power as you can get when you're going up against good pitchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also think you got to take into consideration your opponent because when they played the Royals, they lost. Was it? It was 3 or 4. I think they lost. It was a tough series. But the
Yeah, they
Royals,
got screwed in that, but that's whatever.
yeah, we'll talk. That's for another time. But
Still a home run.
wait, we're talking about the
Remember,
same thing. I was
remember
talking about
when?
no, I'm talking about like this year, like couple
Oh
like
fuck! I'm
last.
talking about the playoffs. I'm
Yeah, I was
talking
like,
about the
wait a
playoffs, and they got
second. No,
screwed.
this year I'll tell you where I'm going with this. So the Royals had like 15 or something, like something crazy on stolen bases, and it might have been advances too, combining like pass ball. Either way, a team like that who just runs on everything and not allowing those pass balls, not allowing guys to get that extra base is extremely important, especially when you get into a tight playoff game. So having a guy who's really strong defensively, that's you'll see why that will make a huge impact because saving that 90 feet, that could save a run.
Right.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
you need to have both, right? You need to have two guys, but having a good, I would sacrifice. Obviously, if he's hitting 090, like less than 100, okay, that's ridiculous. That's time for to look elsewhere. But if he
Right.
can get it to like 220, or if he finishes a year like
Right.
220,
I
210,
get it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sacrifice average if he still plays gold glove defense and is great with the pitching staff like he's shown to be.
Right. I'm gonna go over two more stats for Danny Jansen. In 13 games, he has 3 total bases. So just hits. Like that doesn't
Wow,
include walks, but just 3 total bases.
that's brutal.
Um, and this is actually a really good stat that I kind of like found out about a few years ago. So you know OPS, right? Obviously, everyone knows on
On
base
base plus
plus slugging.
slugging. Yeah.
Yes. And that's like kind of what everybody goes by now, like new analytics people, they kind of love OPS.
Yeah.
I love OPS plus, which is I think basically the idea of it is it's ballpark adjusted. So and it will give you your OPS plus, if a player has an OPS plus of 100, that means they are an average player, like exactly average. If you're 100, you're an average player. If you're below 100, you're a below average hitter, I should say.
I
You're
was
a
gonna
below
say
average
average hitter,
hitter.
right? Okay.
And then above that is an above average hitter. So, for example, Vladdy, his OPS plus right now is 229. So that means he's twice as good as the average player, right?
Yep.
Or more. He's more than twice as good than the average hitter. Danny Jansen's is minus 27. Like that is such a bad
I
stat.
I don't even want to laugh, but that's so funny.
So
Like,
that means so that means that the average player, average hitter, is twice as good as Danny Jansen.
oh my god.
That's so bad, man. Or is that even like that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Like I'm not someone who looks so like crazy deep into analytics, but that like I do like look at them because they all
Right.
have a purpose. That's just funny though. Like
That's
that's so bad that you just have to laugh.
yeah.
Oh my
minus
gosh.
minus 27. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Thanks, Danny Jansen.
All right, man. You want to get into some picks? You got
Yeah,
something
let's do
lined
it.
up?
Our Friday night picks.
All right. What do you got?
I'll lead it off here. All right, we're gonna start on the ice. I'm gonna take the Rangers over the Flyers.
I like that.
I think that'll be a good one. Both chasing the Bruins in the East. And then we're gonna take, I think the Flames are hosting the Habs. I'm gonna go with the Habs.
Okay.
Got a nice win. They got a nice win over the Oilers last night. Um, we'll go Mets over the Nationals. And then
Okay.
we'll take it to the court, and I'll go Trailblazers over the Grizzlies. What do you got?
I like your Montreal over Calgary, and I like it so much. I'm gonna take it too. I'm gonna take Montreal to win that.
Okay.
Um, I'm also going to take on Friday night. I'm gonna take the Red Sox over the Mariners. Man, the
Okay.
Mariners are doing well, eh? 11 and
Yeah.
7.
Hey, what about the
Uh,
A's? They won like 10 straight.
yeah,
I
like
think
it's so
they
wild.
just lost to the Twins, but they had 10 straight.
And then I will also go, ooh, baby, Friday night, Padres versus Dodgers.
Gotta love that.
I'm going Dodgers.
Okay,
Going
okay.
Dodgers. Going Dodgers.
What
Those
an
are my
el-
picks.
what an awesome playoff series that would be. I hope we get that.
Dude, there's a few playoff series in general in sports right now that I cannot wait to watch. One is Boston versus Washington.
Yep,
That's going to be a fantastic playoff series.
that will be fun.
Padres versus Dodgers, uh, Tampa versus Carolina. I mean, these are all just going to be unreal playoff series. So super excited, man.
What
Super
about a
excited.
Montreal Toronto?
That too. That
Yeah,
too. That's a
yeah.
very.
I thought that was guaranteed to come out there, but yeah, that's what I'm
Well,
looking forward to.
if that was to happen, I'd be very happy with that. I'd be very happy with the Leafs taking it to the Habs. 4 games straight. But
Forward game. That's bold. That's
I'm
bold for a team
calling
that's
it.
lost 6 straight or 5 straight.
Don't worry about it. We got Foligno in the lineup tonight.
Yes,
Thursday.
that's true. He's back. I started on the top line too. Matthews and
Starting on
Marner.
the top line. Yeah. So
Can't wait for
little
that.
random out game. Exactly. All right, man. Well, cool. This was fun.
This was fun as always.
Yeah, we'll see you all
Monday.
Monday morning. Bye, everybody.